to own it. Just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here. Oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you.
I am here in Texas, and what's your name?
Shane Jenkins.
Jon Mellis.
You guys have some great, incredible stories. Who wants to go first?
I'm fine. My name's Shane Jenkins. I'm from Houston, Texas. I did 46 and a half months for storming the Capitol on January 6th. I was pardoned by the president on January 20th of last year. I was let out of Terre Haute medium security federal prison at 1 a.m. 3 degrees outside, snow on the ground after I did 46 and a half months, 1,418 days in custody for allegedly storming the Capitol.
Wow. What about you?
All right. So I was at J6. I witnessed Roseanne Boylan being beaten and trampled to death by police. Tried to respond and help, as did over a dozen of us. And we went and we got locked up. I was locked up for almost 4 years, almost 3 years in the D.C. jail, and almost a year in federal prison. And the first 2 years were solitary confinement, denied visitation, abusive jail guards were known to pop doors in the middle of the night and beat guys like Ryan Samsel, zip time in the middle of the night, beat him within an inch of his life. Black mold. We had to deal with pest infestations, and we also had got our food spiked with cleaning chemicals on many occasions. So, yeah, we were tortured for years. The guards treated us like terrorists. So, and I was right there with that man, too, in the D.C. jail. So we experienced this D.C. gulag together, and I'm telling you, that's my brother over there, and, man, that shit was tough. And I hope nobody ever has to go through this again. Let's make sure that doesn't happen. Let's give Trump a third term.
So what was going on, all this? That happened. You guys did not get arrested immediately, or did you? Not the day of. So how did it all... What happened? Why were you guys there?
Well, I gave my life to Jesus Christ in 2016. I started to care about the unborn. That was kind of the first issue politically that really mattered to me. Then I watched President Trump get persecuted from that 2016 on to 2020. And I was in prison when I gave my life to Christ, got out 2018, became a part of a prison ministry in Houston, was going back into prisons and sharing the gospel. But I was able to vote in the 2020 election. First time I'd ever voted or wanted to vote. And so I voted, and, I voted early in Texas, and then I was in Houston the night of the election, and I watched at like 10:30, 11 at night. I was like, okay, I'm going to bed. Trump's got it in the bag. And then I woke up the next day, and they're like, he lost. And I was like, what? And then you saw the Fulton County stuff, the water main break, all these things. And, if there's one thing you learn in prison, you don't ever let anybody take something from you. And I really felt like they had just taken an election. They're like, you know what, we're going to just steal this right in front of your face so boldly, so brazenly, that somebody that was like new to me was like, I can't accept that.
Right.
So whenever Donald Trump sent that fateful tweet out that said, come to D.C., join the Stop the Steal rally, and then in all bold letters he said, will be wild. And I was like, if we wouldn't have said will be wild, I probably would not have went. But I just felt called, like I really felt led by God to be there for my children, for my posterity, for the future of this country. Like Benjamin Franklin says, you have a republic if you can keep it, and I think that means action. It doesn't mean just sitting back, staying on your phone, like, oh, the next guy will get it, the next generation will take care of it. It means being involved, protesting, whatever it is. I didn't go to fight cops. I didn't go to beat the crap out of people. I was beaten and pepper sprayed. I was hit from behind with a baton. Same area he was at when Roseanne Boylan died. I heard Ashley Babbitt got killed, and then I was like, finally had enough and started fighting back. But this is our republic, and it's our job. We've seen with the whole Epstein thing, we've seen all this with the COVID mandates, with the vaccine harm and all this. Like, there's no accountability in the government. If anybody is going to take care of this country and win back this country, it's got to be us. It's up to nobody but us. So.
Wow. So why did you go?
Well, I'd been out of prison for 3.5 years at this point, had turned my life around. I'd spent 10 years in prison due to a drug charge when I was 21. And when I educated myself for 10 years, read hundreds of history books, dozens of college textbooks, word for word, cover to cover, really, really educated myself, worked out, did my thing. And when I got out, I threw myself into volunteering. So I was like, volunteering 20, 30 hours a week at the Senior Center, the Youth Special Olympics, Ronald McDonald House, all sorts of things that get involved in the community. But when the election season happened, election year, this was what was crazy, because people look at us like we went to go to a protest like it was just the stolen election. To me, it wasn't just the stolen election. It wasn't just to see Trump speak for his last time. It wasn't just to ask Mike Pence to kick it back to the states to do a full forensic audit. It was also, man, a reaction to this year of COVID tyranny we had just endured. And everybody forgets that. We were in the twilight zone for a year. And then everybody also likes to forget that for decades, for my whole lifetime, it doesn't matter who we elect, Republican or Democrat, they're both corrupt, and nothing ever gets better. And the system keeps getting bigger, more bloated with bureaucratic red tape, bureaucrats. They keep hiring more departments, creating more government, and it becomes unresponsive to the people, so it doesn't matter who we elect in. We got one guy, Trump, that made it to the top. And then they stole the election from him. And not only did they steal it with the election fraud, even if you don't want to talk about that, you've got election season where we were censored, lied about. You know, they shut society down, so the only place we could hang out with our friends, technically, even though, you know, I hung out with my friends because I break rules, but was online, and they censor us online. So it's like we don't have a voice, we don't have nothing. And when, you know, it came down to January 6th, like you said, be there, we'll be wild. Mr. President, you were right. It was wild. And it was wild for the next 4 years, too. You know? Yeah, it's still kind of wild, to be honest with you. Yeah. Look at me. You know what I mean? But, it's, you know, that reaction to show up. And then when we showed up, that's not even the end of the story. We showed up peacefully. And then the cops, when we piled up near the Capitol building in a peaceful crowd, started shooting rubber bullets and flashbangs and sting ball grenades into a peaceful crowd. At that point, yes, at that point, after all of that pressure built over decades and over the COVID year and over the stolen election, and then the cops shoot at us when we do our constitutional duty to show up and peacefully protest, we threw our rock and roll middle fingers in the air and we said, we're coming in, and I'm proud of us for doing it. There's two words that came to mind that entire day for me, and it was cathartic joy. Finally, rock and roll, middle finger up. Let's take this Capitol and occupy it and do a sit-in where we wait until they hear our concerns on election integrity. We didn't kill any cops. 0 cops were killed. 4 of us were killed: Ashley Babbitt, Roseanne Boylan, Benjamin Phillips, and Kevin Greason. And people need to talk about that a little bit more.
And that's what I heard from people that were there. I heard there were a couple different things. One, that, that was never the intention, was to storm in the Capitol. Yeah. And two, some people were mad. Some Republicans were mad that you guys were in there and said, we don't do that, don't do that. And then some of you guys were doing that. So it's good to hear the view of, like, why you guys did. You guys did because it was BS that they were shooting at you. Yes. So you guys just...
How much can you take? There was some spirit of 1776. Part of me was like, you know what? Like, when a government... And even more so today, you look at when a government becomes counter to the people. What you look at the Epstein files and all these things that have happened to us. And it seems like there's zero... We thought, oh, Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino, Castro, it's going to happen. We're going to have accountability. They're going to be taking people to jail. And what have they done? The same old BS. Nobody's gone to jail. Nobody's held accountable. But whenever it's regular citizens who went and at worst got caught up in the moment, were assaulted by police and then fought back, then they lay under the guise of saying, well, when you fought back, you weren't
right.
just fighting back. You were trying to overthrow the most powerful government in the world unarmed. And it's ridiculous on its face.
Obviously, the media was going to put the spin on it.
Well, it was also, they tried to usher in the death knell of MAGA. But what they failed to realize, if they would have just took us to jail and said 90 days, 60 days, a year in jail, it might have been the death knell for MAGA. Exactly. But when they persecuted and prosecuted us, like they offered me, they at my sentence, so they offered me 92 to 115 months in prison. And I told them, I said, I'd love to consider your plea offer, but I don't negotiate with terrorists. And then my lawyer got mad. He goes, oh, my God. He goes, Shane, like, I want to win this case for you. And I said, bro, nobody is getting out of here alive. Nobody is coming out of here unscathed. I said, I would rather take 10,000 years than to bend my knee and kiss the ring and capitulate and kiss these people's ass who have zero regard for us, who don't give a F, excuse my language, about us. And I said, I'm not. And not only that, but I have the men looking to me in the jail. And I said, I'm going to trial. And I went to trial. And I got 84 months. I got less than my plea offer, but I went to trial. And I wouldn't, people are like, would you do it all over again, Shane? Even after you did 46 and a half months, 2 years, no visits, years in solitary confinement? And absolutely, because we are a thorn right now on the side. Nobody's been made whole. Nobody's been compensated. Lawsuits are out and all that stuff, but we thought we were going to have a friendly DOJ, but nothing has happened. Nothing beneficial has happened for us, and that's okay. I don't need a handout. But I want people to understand that, like, left or right, this could be any of us. And when a government becomes tyrannical and it serves one side or the other, it's a dangerous thing, and I don't want to see that happen. I don't want it to happen to the left either. I disagree with them on everything, but I also want, we should have limited government. We should have, they should serve the people, not persecute and prosecute the people.
Thomas Paine wrote about this in Common Sense during the Revolution, and that great book, everybody should read it. It's only like 70 pages. It's very short. And he talked about a bloated bureaucratic machine being unresponsive to the people. Doesn't matter who you elect into office, and he warned us about it, and this is exactly what we've done. And to his point, if they'd have done the same thing to us like they did to BLM and Antifa and the Democrat rioters, they would have just not arrested us at all. They would never have named us. But now they've given us a platform. They tortured us for years and given us a platform, and now I'm going to use that platform. And rock and roll is on our side. There's nothing more rock and roll, and I say this all the time, there's nothing more rock and roll than a middle finger to the system. And there's no bigger middle finger to the system than Donald J. Trump and January 6th. I'm telling you, the riot, I heard it over 500 times in the summer of love when they were rioting all over the country, the Democrats. The riot is the voice of the unheard. But all we ever hear is them. In every sitcom, in every commercial, in every social media post, we only hear left-wing propaganda. We are the unheard. Our riot was the voice of the unheard. And we're here to stay now that you named us. We're here to stay, baby.
It's funny. I tell people, I have a podcast. I run a nonprofit now, like Stand in the Gap Foundation, if you want to look. But I'm not a podcaster. I'm not an executive director of a nonprofit. You know what I mean? I'm a guy that worked in the oil field in West Texas. I'm a guy who did residential roofing sales, and I'm an ex-con. I'm a felon. But these people picked the wrong person to F with. I didn't choose this life. I cried and wanted to kill myself because I wanted to go back to my old life when I got out of prison, pardoned by the president, and I couldn't. And damn them for that. But God knows what he's doing. He doesn't want me going back to the oil field and doing what I was doing. I'm more effective at what I've been gifted specifically for the mission that I'm on, and I never would have started this mission if it wasn't for the persecution that we endured. And so I'm thankful, it's in James 1, it says, count it all joy when you encounter trials, because trials bring about perseverance. Perseverance brings about all these things, right? And it's true, because I wouldn't change it. I never want to flinch from the pain, because pain is where growth happens. And so I'm thankful to be here. It's an honor.
So I've never protested. I've always been kind of against protests. I've always thought it was kind of like a libtard thing to do. What made you guys decide that this was going to be different and this was worth it? I always thought if you're the masses of asses, you're just one in the crowd. You guys became more than that, but you guys didn't know that going into that. What made you think I'm going to do this and be different than the typical libtard protesting, all the BS that's happened that you saw during 2020 and all that? What made you guys decide this is the time?
Because this movement means something. It deeply means something. It's freedom. MAGA is not Republican. We took the Republican Party, but it's about freedom. And there's, Trump touched into a vein of a feeling in the country that we've been losing our freedoms for too long. And it mattered to me to go there that day, to show my support for the greatest president we've ever had, and hopefully we get a third term.
I knew historically, I'll never forget, I was actually late to the Capitol because I flew from Houston to DFW, had a layover here actually, met a family, the Cron family, the mom and two daughters, and they asked me if I would escort them to the event. Well, so we went to the Ellipse and went to all the speeches and all that until President Trump got done. Then we went to their hotel. They freshened up. I went to Starbucks, got protein packs and coffee, and then they came back down, and I was like, they said, "Oh my God, they stormed the Capitol," and I was like, "What are you talking about?" And I'll never forget. I was like, "Look," I was like, "Y'all, please be careful. I have to go." I knew I have to go, and so took off running. I was like, "Something's happened." I felt like I said,
"Oh my goodness!"
I just didn't believe that. I believe that righteousness and justice and truth will win the day. And I was just like, we know for a fact they stole this election. I just was like, they're going to do something about it. They're going to fix it.
So you didn't get your coffee?
I did. I drank it and I took off running. I literally sprinted from, I don't know, it was like 5 or 6 blocks.
Well, I love this. You guys each have a different perspective. You were in the beginning and you were at the tail end. So you guys saw different things happen.
I was late. So the stuff had already had happened. So I get down there to the west side of the Capitol and they've got these temporary grandstands up, and it looked like somebody kicked a fire ant bed, and these people are climbing, I'm talking as big as this building right here.
Wow.
And they're climbing, it's 5 or 6 stories, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, holy shit. shit, it's happening right now, right? And so I go up there, and I remember, like, I start climbing, and I end up climbing. I was at a barrier wall to the lower West Terrace, which is where the president puts his hand on the Bible, and he says, that's where, raise your right hand, like the oath of office. Typically, Trump didn't do it this last time, but every other time except for one, they've always done it on that very stage. I didn't even know it, right? And so I go to grab that wall, and I just hear this voice whisper, and it was God, and it was like, Shane, this is dangerous. And I was just like thinking, I was like, why am I here? And I was like, for my kids and for my grandkids, after the COVID shit we went through, all the stuff, like locking us down, essential, non-essential workers, all these things, right? And I was like, who the F are you to tell us, like, I'm essential or not essential? Like, don't kill your grandma by wear a mask. And man, F all that. Anyways, so I just sitting there and I'm thinking, I'm like, is it worth it? Like, and I know it is worth it because I'm the one I'm a man, I'm the leader of my family. I'm here representing my family, my 5 children, and I'm here. And I said, it is worth it to me. And so I didn't know, like, I climbed over that wall. People were bleeding, crying, pepper spray. Like, it was like a war zone when I got over there. But again,
So what did you do? Everyone was crying, doing all that, and you just still went in there? You went inside?
So there are a few things that happened. So I climb over the wall, and I go up to this window, and I'm looking at the lower West Terrace tunnel where the president actually walks out when he puts his hand on the Bible is right there. And I'm looking at, and I'll never forget, I'm standing there on this ledge, and I'm looking at this dude, and he comes out of the tunnel, and he's like holding his head, and he's pouring blood down his face. But he looked like my brother's dad, my grandpa.
And you didn't have any weapons on you?
I had tomahawks and a tactical
but not
knife.
a real, I get it.
And so it was just funny. It was a funny story about my trial. I'll tell you later. But so I'm standing there, and like this old man's bleeding. I've got pictures on my phone of it. He's actually bleeding, and I'm like, what did that man do? He didn't do anything. He got the shit kicked out of him, and he's bleeding. And I'm like, so I said, you know what? People are trying to go in this tunnel where there's 200 cops in there. It's like, why don't we just go through this window right here? Yeah. And I like tapped on the window, and this guy looks at me and goes, you can't break that window. It's bulletproof. And I was like, why'd you have to say that? Like,
don't give a challenge.
Don't tell me I can't do something, right? So I had a master. I was prepared. So they had a rally the month before, and Antifa had stabbed a couple of Proud Boys, and so we knew the potential for violence was there. So I had like a big giant master lock, like padlock. I had tomahawks. I had a tactical knife. I was just prepared for self-defense, not to fight the cops with knives and tomahawks. Right. So I watched that guy get beat, and I'm like looking at this window, and I'm like, why don't we just go in the window? And so that guy told me I couldn't break it. I hit it with the master lock a few times. Bang, bang, bang. He's like, you can't break it. And I was like, so I went in my backpack, pulled out the tomahawks. One of the tomahawks, and I go to hit the window. I start hitting the window. It's a funny thing at my trial. Anyway, I hit the window like 7 times. The crowd's like, whoa. Half the crowd's like, yeah, we're going in. And the other half of the crowd's like, no, we're not Antifa. And I'm like, bro, I paid for this. I'm a taxpayer. This is our window. I'm not hurting anybody. But I did stop. And so
I thought you came in after that. So I thought you were where the girl got.
We were both on the inaugural stage, actually. We were both in the same spot. We just got there at different times.
Because I thought the girl went through the window when she got shot.
No, that's a different area. So
that's a different area. Okay.
Roseanne Boylan was killed at the mouth of that tunnel, the mouth of that hallway.
Okay.
Beaten and trampled to death by police, yeah. Well, everybody was screaming. There was other unconscious bodies as well. But, to his point, inaugural stage where the president puts his hand on the Bible, when I saw everybody breaking the police line and going up, I was like, man, I'm beelining. I never called it the Capitol the whole day. I kept yelling, storm the castle. I was like totally like medieval on that shit. I was like, let's do it. So my first instinct was to climb on the inaugural stage because everybody else was doing it. I want to do it too. And I wanted to smoke weed where the president puts his hand on the Bible and takes the oath of office because I thought that would be a cool story. Now, when I get up there, I noticed that there's a hallway and we're all trying to get in. And so I was cheering, and I went in the hallway, and there's this kind of famous moment we had where it's called the heave-ho. This tank of people, of patriots, is doing this heave-ho, heave-ho, heave-ho against the cops. And I'm in this tank just really pushing with every inch of my being. I'm pushing as hard as I can, feeling like we could save the world if we get through there. It was beautiful, I'm telling you. Cathartic joy was the thing I felt all day. But it was a glorious feeling, I'm telling you, and I'm honored to have been a part of it. I suffered 4 years. It sucked. It was torture, But they gave me a platform. Now I'm living in West Hollywood, dating a Playboy playmate. I just got back from fucking Paris, France. You know what I mean? We were in Turkey, and I mean, it's just weird. So I speak to groups of people all over the country, and I'm launching a new podcast in conjunction with 2 production companies out there in West Hollywood, out of Howie Mandel Studios, in conjunction with Jack Osborne and different people. And I'm gonna have great A-listers coming on to speak their mind. But what I want to do, my vibe, what I'd like to contribute to the MAGA movement or contribute to the country is to show that MAGA is rock and roll. We are the cool kids at the party. It was so sad to see all those, my favorite rock bands, like Rage Against the Machine, more like Raging for the Machine. They did, during COVID, they would do these vaccine passport mandatory concerts. So you can't go to this rock and roll concert, the middle finger to the system rock and roll, you can't go to their concert unless you take an experimental vaccine that the government told you to take. That's so un-rock and roll. We are rock and roll, so I'd like to bring rock and roll back where it belongs. What the Democrats did, my last point, the Democrats had a monopoly on rock and roll for too long. And what they did was they took God out of the equation and they started messing with children.
Well, they went to communism and socialism.
Yeah, exactly.
Division instead of
cutting children's dicks off and stuff like that. It's fucking weird. So what we need to do...
Elaborate on that.
Well, the transgender movement, look, if you're an adult and you want to cut your own dick off, look, that's whatever. Freedom, do what you do. I think you should get mental help, but whatever. But they don't leave the kids alone. They want to push it on the kids. They want to give the puberty blockers and the double mastectomies.
There's a science. It's a medical term. It's called body dysmorphia.
Yeah.
If you believe if you're a man and you think you're a woman, it's a mental illness.
Mental illness.
But now they've changed it to where it's
normal. Well, when you take God out of the equation, everything's okay. Now you can transition children. Now they call these MAPs, minor attracted persons or whatever. So it's like pedophiles now
have
normalize. They're trying to
pedophilia.
normalize pedophilia and stuff. It's disgusting. So what I want to do is bring rock and roll back to our side where it belongs and leave God in it. Because we have moral values. We know when we do wrong, we have that North Star that tells us you did something wrong and you should do better next time, or rectify it and everything like that. But the left, when they do something that's wrong, they don't have God telling them where the North Star is, so they just say, it's a different lifestyle. It's totally cool. It's not wrong. So what I would like to do is bring God back into the equation of rock and roll and protect the children. It's pretty simple. Yeah.
So I have a question about, because some people will say, especially the liberal, which, sorry I said the other word earlier, liberals, Democrats.
Libtard is
I didn't mean to say that.
Psychotic communists.
But they've said, like Trump said he was going to be there with you guys. He was going to help lead, and then he wasn't there. What do you guys have to say about that?
I hoped he would be there, but it didn't matter.
You didn't feel abandoned in some way about it?
I didn't go for President Trump. I went for my family. You know what I mean? Like, I support the man. Like, I disagree with the war in Iran. Like, we can get into all that. But just like, I don't know if you've ever been married or not, I'm not going to agree with what my wife says all the time. Like, we can have...
You can't agree with anybody 100%.
I've been posting online
That's
about
impossible.
Israel and Iran, all this stuff, and people are like, you're a traitor to the MAGA movement, and all this stuff. I'm like, no, do you disagree with your wife every day or whatever, once a week? Are you a traitor to your marriage?
Exactly.
No, we can disagree. We don't have to agree on 100% of everything.
Right.
And so I just think that, like, I'm not a blind follower. Like, I do support the MAGA movement. I'm also for no new wars. I'm also for Americans first. All that money they spent in Israel or in bombing Iran, we could be spending on our homeless veterans here. Like, we could be reforming the justice
I very
system.
much agree with you on that.
We need to invest in people in prison because they are going to get out. Like, 80% of them are going to get out one day, and they are going to move in next door to you and to me, and their kids are going to go to school with your kids and my kids. And I just think there's much more important things that we could be doing than supporting the war in Ukraine or supporting the war or Israel bombing Gaza or whatever it is. I don't care for that. I don't have to. But again, I support President Trump because he is a disruptor. I love a disruptor. Like, I come in, like, I'm at CPAC and, like, do you think they like the sweater vest, khaki pant wearing country club Republicans? Do you think they like me at CPAC? They don't. But it's
I'm just like an 80s Coke dealer. Come on, man. Like, I love it. Like, I love triggering both sides. It's amazing. But the beauty of our movement is that with Charlie Kirk and Tim Pool, they're on they disagree on a lot of things. Like, our movement is so broad and diverse intellectually, we can have disagreements. The left, they're all in lockstep with every single issue that they have. Which is destroying the country. That's what they agree on, every single issue. But yeah, we are diverse and we're allowed to disagree. That's what the beauty of Charlie Kirk was, is, he's more socially conservative than I am typically. But and I look up to him, and I wish I could, be more like him. But having disagreements is healthy. That's what America's about.
Right. No, the important thing to have is the conversation, because I don't have a problem debating life or abortion or whatever it is, but I think it's important to have civilly have the conversation.
Right.
If you want to, we can fight. If you want to fight, we can fight. But I want to have a conversation. I want to hear you. I want to hear where you're coming from and why you feel that way, and then let me share what I feel. But I was going to say, so a funny thing at my sentencing at trial, I had a putz for the lead prosecutor. He asked for 20 years for me, like 232 months, right?
Wow.
And then this female prosecutor comes up, and she reminds me of my ex-wife. And she's just like the big B word, right? And so I'm just like, oh my gosh. And she comes up there, and she's like, it's funny, she walks over to the jury box, which is about probably here to the back of that chair right there, like 10 feet from me. And I was very like, I'm facing the jury the whole time, and so I'm always just like, when they're talking about me, I'm just like taking notes. I'm very non-confrontational. I'm like not trying to lock eyes with them or be intimidating to anybody in the jury box, right? And so she goes to the jury box, and I did post on social media, and I love the movie Braveheart, right? And I said, I'm going to DC, I'm taking my tomahawks and knives, and I'm going full Braveheart, right? The day before, on January 5th, I said, and she leans in, she goes, Mr. Jenkins on January 5th said blah, 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 like he's going full Braveheart in DC. And then she whispers it, and so when she whispers, the jury leans in, and then she is talking to them, and she turns around and points at me, and she goes, and that's what he did, and I'm like trying to take notes, and I'm like, oh god, she's scared. I'll never forget. It was like
my goodness.
It was like a Perry Mason moment at my trial. I was like, holy shit! But it took him like 2.5 days to come back with a guilty verdict. But I just was like, another thing that happened, I was in Houston. I got arrested March 5th, almost 2 months to the day after January 6th. And my judge that was there, and he was like, he goes, Mr. Jenkins, he's like, I don't think you're a flight risk because you're a part of a prison ministry here in Houston. You're very well rooted in the community. You have excellent support letters and everything. And he goes, he said it in this weird ass, he stopped and changed voices. He goes, how dare you take your tomahawks and fly halfway across this nation to attack our fragile democracy? And I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck is going on? I look at my lawyer, and I was like, so I'm not going home? And he was like, no, you're not going home. I love it. But I was like, what is going on? It was over the top, this dramatic.
Was this all televised?
No, I wish it was. They don't allow cameras in federal court because they didn't want to show. They don't want to show what they do.
We had a lot of great comedy material if they
oh
allowed
my gosh,
cameras
right?
in there.
On the Muppets, like the guys in the movies, the two old
guys.
That's
really
funny.
Like, what the hell is going on?
And, they took themselves so seriously.
No, you're not going home. Take it back to the
my god.
So I love that this has really changed your guys' life for the better. You said you moved. You said you're moving. Tell us a little bit about where you guys are now, and where we can see your podcast at.
Yeah. So I'm Patriot Wildman on Instagram. WeAreGoodMen.com. Check me out. But I'm coming out, like I said, in conjunction with 2 production companies. Vito Glazer's Glazer Media. Love you, Vito. And Michelle Farrell Management, by the way. Love you, Michelle. And so I'll be coming out with a podcast in West Hollywood. I live in Hollywood. I think it's Van Nuys is where we're actually filming it. But I live in West Hollywood. I go to red carpets, hang out with celebrities.
So if we follow you,
I'm wearing one of. So I'm sponsored by Barabbas, which is a luxury men's clothing company. Hang on, we got an airplane. We got the Air Force coming through real quick. Hold on. So I'm sponsored by Barabbas, which is a luxury men's clothing company. And on our way here, I had several outfits, and we had one in our closet. So we had gotten Andy Dick as a friend of ours. So we had gotten him dressed. We had gotten him dressed for Bill Maher. So this is his Bill Maher suit. My girl's just like, grab Andy's suit. I'm like, all right, cool. So if Andy sees this, man, I'm wearing this before you wore it on Bill Maher. So I'll get it dry cleaned and stuff. There's probably some alcohol stains on it. So I got you, brother. I love you. Yeah. So I'm out in West Hollywood doing my thing, I'm hoping to bring rock and roll back to this side, and let's see where it goes. We want to hopefully we'll have some. I know we're gonna have some great A-list rock stars on my show. But,
and again, what was the Instagram?
Instagram is Patriot Wildman, obviously.
So then you guys just follow, and then we'll figure out.
The show is gonna be Public Enemy, so you're gonna get ready for that. Yes,
awesome.
Get ready for that.
Again, I'm Shane Jenkins. You can find me, like, I run a nonprofit. Our primary focus is helping January 6ers post-pardon with their mental health, emergency funding, get their lives back together. So I run a nonprofit called Stand in the Gap Foundation. If you go to standinthegap.foundation, you can donate there, but that's my primary focus right now. In the short term, it's helping us until lawsuits come down and all the other stuff to make sure, because a lot of people don't understand. There's still 12 people who have been unpardoned.
Oh, wow. Why is that?
We don't.
Seditious conspiracy charge. So our best friends are the Proud Boys, the leadership.
Enrique, Joe Biggs, yeah.
Yeah, so the seditious five:
Zach
Enrique
Real.
Tario, Joe Biggs, Zach Real,
Ethan Nordine.
Dominic Pizzola, Ethan Nordine. These
And the
guys
Oath Keepers,
Yeah,
Stuart
and a
Rhodes,
handful of Oath Keepers.
Kelly Meggs, yeah.
Yeah, so a handful of both of those groups, Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, were charged with seditious.
The majority
conspiracy.
is the military, and so they're not able to get benefits.
Oh.
So they were
VA, all that
commuted.
stuff.
Oh,
Their
man.
sentences were
Joe
commuted.
Biggs is a two-time Purple Heart recipient. I mean, these guys have real battle
He's not able to get his VA benefits, nor is his daughter.
Oh, my
Zach
goodness.
Reel's family's not able to get
Zach
his
Reel's
VA.
here.
Dominic Pizzola's not able to get the VA benefits. So there's that, and then also a lot of people don't realize that even though we were pardoned, so if
They were commuted. They were not
yeah,
pardoned,
If
they
I
were
go,
commuted,
if I
so
went
they
to
got
apply for a
released.
job and they do a criminal background check, my January 6 charges will still pop up. It just says below, pardoned by the President of the United States. So
And
anywhere
this
you,
fine print?
yeah, and so, but it's
Wow.
So they
it's,
still
so it's
refuse
hard
you
for
the
people.
job,
Yeah.
but they just don't say it was your criminal record. They just say it was for whatever.
So we're in the future. We're fighting for justice reform. I like I said earlier, I believe 80% of prisoners are moving back out in the community. We lead the nation or the world in so many things. We should have the leading world lowest recidivism rate.
Right.
So I want us to rethink, reimagine incarceration, not for profit, but to invest in these people who've made some mistakes, did wrong. We want to afford every opportunity to people who want to fix themselves. If you want to gangbang and do drugs and do all that stuff, then we'll have a place for you to do that. But if you want to we want to educate you, inform you, whatever you need to do to get back out to be the best father, to be the best husband, to be the best business owner, whatever it is, and you're the best churchgoer in your community. We want to do that. And so Stand in the Gap Foundation. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's the real J6Shane _US. On Twitter, I'm the real J6Shane. So.
And what about your podcast? Where can we see that at?
It's on the America First Media app.
Oh, okay.
The America First Media and Television, Joe the Box at the America First Warehouse. It's called Liberty's Cage. It's a justice reform podcast, but I've been interviewing J6ers, and I just, I enjoy a good conversation. So thank you so much for having us on.
Well, thank you guys for coming on. We're going to follow you, and definitely I'm going to check out your podcast.
Yeah. It'll be fun. Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for listening.
God bless you. Thanks for listening. Yeah.
So I am still here at the CPAC convention. And what is your name?
Michelle Farrell.
So tell us what you do.
So I'll just do the introduction they give me on Newsmax, which is she's a sugar baby, she's a playmate, she's a talent manager. Yeah.
You're
me.
a sugar baby.
That's me.
Who's providing the sugar?
Of course. All of my mentors. I've had about 10 for like a while. So, I don't want to age myself, but, I've had some
But
good
you're very
friends.
self-made. That's why I'm like.
Yeah, well, I've been made because, I've had money.
Not mafia
I've
made,
lost. I was a wedding planner for 20 years. I did Kobe Bryant's wedding. I did a lot of celebrities. Weird Al Yankovic, a lot of SNL comedians.
Wow.
And I kind of got into a situation with a partner who took me for a ride, and then I had to kind of fend for myself. I suffered for probably, I would say at that time, for years, probably like 10 years.
That's such a detriment when that happens.
I mean, and I had my 2 kids. So I said, can someone put me in a coma until they're 18? I did not want to continue. I didn't want to die, but I could not bear going through life where I was broke. And I didn't know there was such thing as welfare. I didn't find that till like 20 years later. And I'm like, I should have been on that. But I had one lady come to my house. She said, they're not going to approve you. I had 2 Mercedes. I had a big house. But when you're broke, there's no groceries in the cupboards.
Oh, yeah.
What do you do?
There's a different type
What
of
do you
wealth
do?
in assets and actually
Thank
being
you.
able to.
And
eat
Fox
mindset.
News was at my door every day. Shame on you, because I'm a Republican, but they were at my door every day trying to get this real scoop. I said, what is the scoop? I literally got screwed over by a guy, shared it with a caterer,
sucks.
and all of my clients canceled in a row. Boom, 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 boom. Except, I don't want to be rude, but the Jewish clients all canceled, and the Christian ones stuck by me. I love Jewish
You
people.
always know who your true friends
I love
are
Jewish
when
people,
you hit
but
rock bottom.
I'm
That's how
telling you,
find
and
out.
I wore my cross in my bankruptcy case. I won the case, started over, and then they tried to go criminal against me. So for 10 years, I fighted a criminal case over $30K. For 10 years.
Wow.
$30K, that was what was at stake. And now I look back, I'm like, it was such a minor thing. I should have just taken the felonies and called it a day. Ultimately, I got 3 felonies. Fraud and embezzlement, which I've
You still got that?
I got that no matter, because I
Wow.
didn't want to continue the case. I was like, for 10 years.
Oh,
I'm like,
I know.
I'm done.
That's
I
the
ran
deal.
out of money. I was broke. And so I took the felonies, and I'm proud that Trump is a fellow felon.
Gotta love
But
Trump.
it got expunged like 3 years ago. So I'm so happy.
really
I'm not a
awesome.
criminal anymore. Like, I'm free.
So now you're thriving. So tell us what you do. You have an agency?
So I run Michelle Farrell Management, basically a collaborative management. So if you have an agent, which I love, that's like, I already have an agent. I'm like, well, I'm collaborative, thank goodness, because I can still work with you.
I love that.
But I do charge a monthly fee because I'm also a stylist. I have a clothing line, which I'll plug.
Oh, wow.
Anything I wear is vintage. Nothing is off the racks. Like, this is Dolce & Gabbana vintage. I don't go into Dolce & Gabbana and buy this. I go to Goodwill, Salvation Army. I go to free clothing giveaways in
I'm
Paris.
Armenian. I love a deal.
Let me
You just-
explain something, but you will never stand in a line at like a soup kitchen. I will. So that's the difference between the two of us. But this is the only reason I'll do that. I've been there where I needed to do that, where I was waiting in line for food. And you might have done that too. I don't know. But most people, America has free health care. People don't know about this. The day that Trump was elected in 2016, I was in a line with a bunch of ladies that were wearing little kitty hats. We won't say the word pussy. We can block that out. But they wore the kitty hats. And I said, what are you guys wearing this? I was in the subway in LA because I didn't have a car for 7 years, by the
Oh,
way.
wow, that's
And
rough to not
I
have a
was
car in
going
LA.
through a free healthcare convention where they had heart surgery, foot surgery, anything you can think of through the Latter-day Saints. I asked them, I said, what is this big convention for healthcare? They said every year in any state in the U.S., and every month of every year, there's a free healthcare convention. So you fly to that state, Utah, I don't care where it is. They will give you whatever surgery you need with a license, an ID. They don't even ask you your income.
Wow.
This is by law. They have to do pro bono services.
I love
I got
that.
plastic surgery. I used to have moles. I had 1 year. It was kind of like Marilyn Monroe until it grew into like a growth. I'm like, it's not cute anymore. Let's get that thing off of there. But I was so scared they're going to mess with my face. And Rachel McAdams, who's a very famous actress, she's got one here. I want to tell her, please, you've got the money. Just it's a 2-second thing. There's like this. Because you don't want to look at this. If it's a little mole, it's cute. But I got plastic surgery. I got foot surgery. I got all these things for free. And they go, oh, no, nothing's free. We don't have health care here. Yes, we do. People just don't want to go there.
That's
if they
really
need it.
awesome to
It's
know. I
free.
love resources
Free.
that you find out about every
I
day.
care. Anything you need is free. You just have to research and do your research. America is the land of plenty. We're the home of the free, land of the brave, whatever. We are literally the most prosperous country in the world. You're thinking we don't have free healthcare here? Ask the 20 million that came through during Biden. They got free everything. So yeah, we get everything free.
So what was your journey like? So when were you a Playboy Playmate?
So I started late. I knew Hugh Hefner in my 20s. I was singing at the mansion for parties at the Coconut Club for Merv Griffin. Those of you that are my age, I'm 54. We were like the era of like the rockabilly. Gwen Stefani was my best friend growing up.
I love
and
her.
you know, we were doing all these songs like Andrew Sisters. So the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy, Company B, we were doing these kind of songs at Coconut Club and things like this. When she made it big and decided to go that route, which I would go that route as well. I tried. I had a record deal with Warner Brothers for years. I still have it. It's an open-ending deal. So she came so big, so fast that she was on her journey. I was still up and coming. And I changed my name to Michelle Martini. I was doing the whole rockabilly swing dancing thing. That's when I met Hugh Hefner. And I was so shy. I said, I'm a singer. I could never pose nude for your magazine, but I'd love to sing at your parties. That's how we met. And then years later, after like my second divorce, I'm like, you know what? Let's go ahead and do Playboy now. And then they took out nudity that year.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not nude in my first spread. I'm completely covered up. And
we're not going to go search the internet for that then. You just ruined it, but.
I know, it's covered. I'm sorry. But I just shot for Playboy in France. I believe we're doing it in Sweden this year.
Oh,
but
nice. Okay.
I shot with Francois Berthier. My guy was there. Jon Mellis, give him a plug. And I shot for him last year as well. And the last week of the Olympics, I got that as well, that Playboy cover. And so this is my 4th time doing it. So I'm very excited about it. Actually, it's my 5th time. But I am also a talent manager, a collaborative manager. I work with artists, commentators. I'm plugging,
Who are some people that we would know?
Andy Dick is a big one. People give him such a bad rap. He's the sweetest man in the world, right?
Yeah, vodka
One of
cranberry.
my best friends. Thank you. Cheers. He's sober right now, Andy. I swear to goodness, you better stay sober. He died like the other day. And then came back, and then we're so happy he's alive. He's alive.
Wow.
And Jon Mellis is wearing his suit.
It's been like 10 years since we did the vodka cranberry thing.
Yeah,
so
we got
don't
him.
plug that. It's been a while.
We got him a sponsorship with Barabbas Men's Clothing as well. John is wearing his Bill Maher suit. We were just on with Howie Mandel. He was wearing another Barabbas outfit. He looks amazing, by the way. But if you could think of maybe some artists that, who would be someone famous I could think of right now, it would probably be. I would say Jon Mellis, who's a J6 Patriot, my boyfriend.
They could
as
be
well.
older people that we know. Yeah.
I mean, you know, we've got Shane. Let's do his last name again, Jenkins. Okay, I always say Gillis because he reminds me of him too. He's a comedian. Shane Jenkins is a comedian, just doesn't know it. When he did that whole like patriotic voice, I was like, he's a comedian for sure.
That was funny.
And he loves karaoke. He's the best guy ever. But you know, he's also America's Warehouse like baby, sweetheart, whatever you want to call it. So I think there's a presidential run one day if they allow tattoos. I think they can't hold him back if he's American, right? He can run for president. But I will say this. The people that I manage, a lot of times they don't even need it. Olga Loera, she's one of the best playmates in the world. I always collaborate with people because it's an insult to say, I need to manage you. These people are unmanageable. They manage me usually. But I collab with them and get them collaborations. So
networking is everything.
Exactly.
So I like that.
Exactly. So I recently had this amazing kid. John knows who's our best kid, Raul's son. The best kid in the world that I manage. He's like an up and coming actor.
Joey.
So not Joey. Joey's already big.
Oh, you're in trouble, John.
Yep, let's name the guy. He better know. He's a very famous little boy, and he's up and coming.
And this is one of your clients. You don't know their last name.
Well, I'm gonna test John right now because it's like one of our best sponsors' sons.
Yes.
He's gonna look it up.
My
We'll
goodness.
wait for that, but he's an up and coming.
How did you get into
It's a new
this?
show. During COVID, I needed something to do other than just sit there and collect the money from the government. I felt so guilty, but we absolutely.
Rocco Castro.
Okay, thank you, Rocco
Oh,
Castro.
okay.
He's on a show on the show on YouTube. I'm going to test him on this one as well. The show on YouTube that has like 6 million followers. That Rocco's on.
You guys are already fired.
I'm loving this. I'm testing him. This is one of his best sponsors, Charles. But Rocco Castro is the up and coming. He's Chris Farley is his idol. And because I'm with all the comedians, Jamie Kennedy is another good one that I'm collabing with on Peter
And
Madrigal.
Rob Schneider or not?
Well, Rob Schneider is one of my new clients because he wants to be on Jon's show. So from last night, from this whole
Yeah,
debacle.
Rob's awesome.
So we've got Jamie Kennedy, who I've had. Peter, this is my other client, Peter Madrigal from Vanderpump Rules. Peter. He's my amazing, little star baby. He was on Vanderpump for 10 years.
Right on.
He's one of my best clients. He's also one of Jon's producers for The Boys Will Be Boys, which Shane will be a part of. It's one of our reality shows up and coming through Howie Mandel Studios as well.
Right on.
And this is going to be so fun because Peter Madrigal, think about this, Jamie Kennedy, Rob Schneider. We have guests on his show, Public Enemy. We've got the first, I think we're going to do Kid Rock, Gene Simmons, of course, Jamie Kennedy, Rob Schneider, Andy Dick. Don Trump Jr. is one of our other people, Axl Rose, and possibly Slash as well. We got 12 episodes signed deal for him. But we've got all these amazing patriots. Even Howie Mandel is right-leaning. Jack Osborne, who's co-producing
That's
as well.
so cool. No,
Spark
I had no
Entertainment,
idea.
Serena DC, Michael
And I
Mazzola.
like all these people, so I'm so
I've got-
glad to know they're right.
Oh, these are the best people on the planet. And we've got shows like Holly Weird, Jillian Michaels, who's the
Is she
Smashing
nice?
Pumpkins.
I've always heard. Oh my God, that's
Billy
one of my
Corgan.
favorite bands. I
Yes.
love the Smashing
You
Pumpkins.
got to come on the show. Come on the
Oh,
show.
for sure.
So they're all filming in our studios.
So Jillian Michaels, is she nice?
She's lovely. That's one of-
Okay.
he has
We
a
always
crush on
hear
a
all
lesbian.
these
I love it.
weird, misconceptions.
You got to meet people in person to really judge them.
Well, that's why I'm asking
Billy
you.
Bush films there as well. I love Billy. Hey, Billy. He's the best. My show, Bunnies Unfiltered, where we're playmates that are interviewing, like, people have been to the mansion. Like, Roseanne Barr was one of the first people I met at the mansion.
I love her.
She's the best
she's my
patriot
hero.
ever. Best patriot
I would
ever.
love to meet her. That's somebody I aspire
Then that'll be
to.
you better be on my show, Bunnies Unfiltered. Spark Entertainment will start shooting end of April. John's show as well, like mid to end of April.
And so, how'd you
yeah.
get with Newsmax? Explain that
So
one.
last year at CPAC, John Tobacco, who I'm a big fan of, I love the show The Wise Guys. I ran up to him. I'm like, oh my God, you're my favorite show. And Cara Castanova, his ex-girlfriend, she's a really amazing girl. I love so much. She's now a journalist for the White House. That's why she's not here this year. They're very busy right now with everything happening.
And
That's why
great.
Trump isn't here.
That's a great
But
problem to have. We were excited about.
Cara, I was in awe of these people, so I ran up to him. I called Peter Madrigal. I said, "I'm with John Tobacco.
I love
Oh my
that.
God!" And I've known Greg Kelly for about 6 years at that time, and I was like, the biggest fan of Newsmax because they stuck by Trump.
Mm-hmm.
When these amazing patriots went to jail, Newsmax never faltered. They were always supporting the J6ers. And Tucker Carlson, he's very controversial right now, but he was always for them as well. He released all the footage on Twitter, which is now X. We love you, Elon. My first date with Jon Mellis was at Elon Musk's apartment I think it's in DC or Maryland, whatever we were at the CPAC last year. That was our first date. How can you go down from there? You just go up. It's Elon Musk. Come on, what can you do? It was before the little tiff between the president and him, which was kind of funny. But all I can say is that MAGA has this amazing, and Dennis Vitosa, I'm going to give you a shout out as well. He's running for Congress. He is one of our biggest fans, John's biggest fans. We are with the heartbeat of Hollywood. And every client I have, including my trans clients, Jasmine Davis, there's a lot of other ones who are for MAGA. They're MAGA. And not to call her out, but she was fired from the Showtime show, The Chi, for not getting the vax.
Wow.
So all of these
Interesting.
people have come together. Landon Britton, he's an amazing up-and-coming actor as well. We are all underlying MAGA, and they're so afraid to even say it. But they're at Mar-a-Lago. We're always at these places with Trump and everything, but they're like, we can't like outright say it in
Well,
Hollywood. I'm done with that.
That's interesting. Okay, so I lived in LA for most of my adult life. I moved back to Fresno, where I grew up. About 4 hours.
My ex is from Clovis.
Oh,
Kevin Federline and Britney Spears and I share that. in
danced
common.
with Kevin Federline when we were kids. So yeah,
I love
Stars
Kevin.
Dance
You know what?
Academy.
I love Britney. Let's shout out Britney as well. Paris
So,
Hilton.
yeah.
They're the best. We're the best.
So I moved back there about 8 years ago. So, and then it was interesting because I could finally own up to being a Republican. I felt like I had to be closeted in LA, and so I love what you're doing. You're outspoken in
you're
LA,
no longer
and
in the
now
closet,
and now
sweetheart.
you get to be with all these other people and bring that out of them. So I love what you're doing. How did this all come about?
Well, I would say this is that I was a singer from age 2. I came out of the womb singing and dancing my whole life, and then I started thinking there's got to be a way that I can incorporate politics. I love politics. I was with Ross Perot.
That's my hero. Oh my
Ross
God.
Perot.
I don't know who I was with when I had this conversation.
Sweetheart,
last night,
rest
not
in
you.
peace. He died
But
recently,
it
by
was,
the way.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but I just had this conversation. It's the other John that I had this conversation with last night.
Ross Perot,
I'm serious because he said he works with one of Ross Perot. I said that's what got me my.
Do you remember what company he helped save?
It was a.
We looked this up the other day.
It was a. That's what John works for. The other John.
I want to say Microsoft or IBM, but
because that's what the other John works for. He's
he
an
helped
engineer for that.
He
Yes.
didn't work for them, but he helped their company.
Right.
And by the way, Ross Perot was self-made. He dropped out of the race, and this is why Clinton won. He dropped out. When he came back, people didn't trust him anymore. But it's going to start raining on us.
Yes,
my hair.
I do love,
I have
but
to
I
run.
love
I
Ross
love you
Perot, and
guys.
that's how I got into
Protect
this
my
too.
hair.
So congrats to that.
Thank you so
We're
much.
gonna go.
We'll
Where does
continue
everyone
this
follow
on
you?
another day. It's Michelle Farrell on Instagram. Also Michelle Farrell Management, and of course Patriot Wildman, my #1 client, my boyfriend Jon Mellis, and Shane. I have to give Shane Jenkins a shout out. He's here right now, and he's the real J6 at Instagram as well. Follow us, people. Let's fight the good fight. Please don't give up. Trump, we love you. We'll never, ever give up on you. People are giving up on him. Are you guys nuts? Like, come on. Come on, people. Stop.
And with that,
Get
we're
with the
out,
program.
guys.
Yes, I love her so much.
So, how exciting. Saturday you're going to fight. Who are you fighting on Saturday?
Noah Ozuna.
So, have you fought him before?
Yeah, I fought him before.
Did you win?
No, I lost.
Oh,
Also.
so this is important because now you got to go.
Yeah, it's pretty important. It's just got to go out there and fight.
How many fights have you had?
This one will be my 8th one, my 8th fight.
Wow. Like, what's the quickest turnaround that you've done a fight?
I've been fighting like every other month or so, honestly. So
That's really quick. So do you ever get to have fun? You can't don't you have to like starve yourself? Like,
well, I'm kind of used to it. I've been wrestling since I was a kid, so kind of used to cutting weight. So I'm kind of like in wrestling, you're cutting weight like every other week, or at least right here you just got to weigh in one time, and you might not fight for at least maybe another month or so. So you have some time to eat, you know.
I don't know how you guys do it. Wow. And so this is going to be a big fight. Who else is all going to be there on Saturday?
It's gonna be I think it's gonna be. It usually turns out pretty like packed. It will be a pretty packed crowd. I don't know who's gonna be there, but it's usually a lot of people.
How many fighters are going to be at this event?
I think there's like at least 15 fights. I think something like that.
15 fights?
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's a lot of fights, and they're all pretty good too.
And any names that we know of? Who's the main attraction that everyone's going for?
It's a pretty good event because everyone's just there to watch the fight. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really know.
No, that's really cool. And so you've fought at this venue before.
Yeah.
And so is this like a better one than other ones? What's like one of your favorite venues?
I've only fought in 2, so I want to say the one in Porterville was pretty nice, just because there was like a stage and everything. But I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of used to like just going out and performing, so I really don't like kind of like look around.
What was the transition from like being a wrestler to then being a fighter?
It was a little different, just because.
I feel like it's a lot different.
Yeah, yeah, it is. just because you're not you're punching and everything. There's a lot more stuff you got to learn.
The rules are completely different.
Yeah, completely different. But
you can't do the things that you do now when you were wrestling.
Yeah. So so like locking hands and stuff, you could do that and fighting and stuff, and then like it was easy to kind of transition just because wrestling just kind of helped me to I was competing every weekend in wrestling, so like the competition part and just like that
knowing your opponent's weakness.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
those are some of the same things that you kind of carry through, huh?
Yeah. So like that part was kind of easy to transition into, but like like learning everything else, like the jiu-jitsu is kind of it's a little bit different. Even just using the hands is a little bit different, just because I'm just so used to wrestling. But
what do you feel like? Do you feel like you're a better wrestler or a better fighter?
I'll probably just say I'm a better wrestler just because you had more experience. Yeah, I've been wrestling since I was a kid. So
this is like a new muscle to learn.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. Just learning, it's just like learning wrestling all over again, but just different martial arts,
How exciting. So who's your coach?
My coach is Mike Moreno, and then Coach Gil Medina. those are the ones that are coaching me. Coach Alejandro Avalos, they're usually in my corners, so getting me ready for the fight, and I'll be ready Saturday. So.
What were their notes to you the last time when you lost this fight with this guy?
Just they were saying you can't leave it up to the judges. You know, like that's what happens. You leave it up to sometimes you leave it up to the judges. It could just go either way. So just saying, you just got to go out there and make sure that win or lose, that you make sure that the judges are out of it. You know.
How do you get to do that? How do you control that?
Just by being being aggressive, fighting smart, obviously, but you know, just not, you know, just taking chances, putting more volume, you know, just going out there and fighting.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Do you get this adrenaline rush every time?
Honestly, when I'm back there, no, I don't really get, like, I feel pretty calm all the way up, even when I'm in there, before there. Like, right all the way up until they say, like, touch gloves, I'm usually pretty calm. But yeah, I think once you get kicked or whatever, then I would say the adrenaline kicks in. So, like, yeah.
Who's your dream to fight?
Dream to fight?
Everybody has a dream fight.
I don't know.
I know you thought of this.
A dream fight? I don't know. I guess if I had to say, like, a dream fight, I'd probably say, like, maybe Frankie Edgar or something, if I was just happen to be that at that time or whatever. But I don't know. I don't think I've ever had, like, I don't really, like, dream about fighting someone. You know what I'm saying?
Well, there's like someone that you like an awe where you're like, man, if I could kick that guy's ass, then I'm good. Like in your head, you know what I mean? Somebody that you're like.
It's whatever. Just fighting is fighting, and if I beat you, it's whatever. I don't know.
If I beat you, it's whatever.
Yeah.
So what was it like when you've won?
It's a lot to carry, like, when you're fighting, and then when it's finally over, you kind of just get to, like, you know.
So regardless of whether you win or lose, you're just happy it's over.
Yeah. Like, I'm down to fight, but, like, at the same time, you do carry a lot of, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of, not stress, but it's just like, you know, once it's over, it's like, all right. You kind of
so what are the perks? I mean, you don't have to give numbers, but you get paid to do this. If you do, you get paid more, like, if you win? Do you get, like, a bonus? I don't know exactly how it works.
Not right now. As an amateur, no. But you get paid for, like, you know, how many tickets you sell, and then, like...
Okay, so you do get a commission.
Yeah, you get commission. And then, like...
that's good.
Depending on, like, sponsorships and stuff like that, then you'll get money like that, too.
But you never get, if you win, they don't get anything?
When I won, I haven't really gotten anything, so, I mean...
Would you at least get, like, a belt?
Well, this one's for the belt, so, I mean, I got to win on Saturday, so we'll see.
And then what happens? You have to give it back ever, or you get to keep the belt forever? Because I've heard with some things, I know it's different, the different fights I've been to, but sometimes, like, people win their belt back or whatever. Do you ever get to keep the belt for...
I don't know how it works. I know some people keep their belts, because I see some people, like, who haven't, like, they're not fighting in 559 anymore, and they still have the belt. So I think they get to keep the belt. I'm not sure. I haven't really, like, asked the question or whatever, but I do see, like, still see some people with their 559 belts that are, like, probably a pro now or something.
Did anybody go with you in a fighting, like any of your friends that were in wrestling with you? Anybody go, like, in your same path?
Yeah. Jace Lukow. I wrestled with him growing up. He fought once, but he's probably gonna fight again, but he fought again. He fought before I did. He was the first one to fight before, like.
Oh, wow.
So then after, like, a month he fought, I fought.
Do you guys keep in touch like that? Or?
Yeah, I talk to him all the time. That's, like, one of my best friends.
That's awesome. Well, it's awesome that you have somebody to talk to about, like... Have you fought him?
Nah, because he's not living in Salma anymore, but...
Did you ever wrestle him when you back in the day?
Yeah. I used to wrestle him all the time.
So you kind of want to fight him, huh?
I mean, I'll work out with them, but, like, not like, you know.
Do you want to fight your friends, or do you not want to fight your friends? How does it work? I don't know how it works. I'm asking out of genuine curiosity. I'm like.
No, I like my friends.
You really don't want to fight then?
Like my real close friends. No, I like my friends. Like they know I don't want to fight them.
So you think you probably couldn't do as well because you're like, yeah, you don't want to fight them because you're.
Well, I mean, if they're gonna come at me crazy or something, I'll defend myself, but I don't want to, like, just start something with them and then just because I can or something, you know.
Well, I was saying in the ring because is it sometimes you might actually get put where you have to fight them, huh?
Oh, you're talking about like fighting something?
Yeah, no, like real fight. No, not on the back, but I'm just saying.
I mean, if it happens, it happens.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you'd want to or not because I thought maybe you might want to because you kind of know. You know them. You already know their weaknesses and strengths. I didn't know if that would be motivation or if you're just like, no, I couldn't do a good job because I'm thinking like.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to fight like a close friend. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd be like, come on.
Yeah.
But if you want to, it's like whatever, I guess. But yeah.
But I know sometimes you don't really have control over how you get placed,
Yeah,
right? Because
who
it's
fights,
about who's available, your weight, your class, like all of that. So sometimes there might be a situation where you have to.
Yeah. I mean, maybe sometime if like, down the line and if the money's good, then.
Okay, that makes sense. Now you're talking. So like if the money's good, now that I can get with.
Yeah, then I'll do it.
Well, what's funny was like, remember the U.S. Open when Serena and Venus, the tennis sisters, like played against each other, and it's like it's really crazy when stuff like that happens. So I'm like, sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles. But I mean, that's what I was wondering, like how you guys like prepare for stuff like that.
With fighting, huh?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Fighting is like a different like arena though. But so this is going to be your 8th fight, and then after that, do you have any lined up?
I don't.
And you usually don't. It's usually one at a time, huh?
Yeah, usually one.
It seems like that with what you guys are doing.
Yeah, but I mean, we'll see what happens after this one. I've been fighting like every other month since I started, so.
Because wrestling is like, it's different. I mean, you have it laid out for you a lot of times what you're going to do. You're like, I know I have 5, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, you're usually busy like every week. Like once you're done with this one, all right, you know where you're going next weekend. And then once you're done with that weekend, you know where you're going the next weekend. So it's just like, it's just, all right, this is the schedule and this is how it is for 2-3 months.
So are you busy because you're good? Is that where you're doing one every other month? Because I know a lot of people aren't as busy as that, like other fighters that have come on.
I'm just trying to get as much experience as I can. I haven't really taken as much damage, and so it's just I just have the time to fight. So
you want to hit it while it's hard.
Yes.
Well, you can do good at your prime.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go fight. Like I'm just gonna have fun while I can.
So do you have a manager, an agent, or do your coaches manage it? Like who gets you these fights?
I have like someone at the gym, people at our gym who like line stuff up for us, and then they'll like, all right, we got something lined up, and then they'll shoot us a text like, yo, the contract's, we're gonna send it, and then so it's usually how it's done. Do you get like nervous sometimes if too much time passes and you're like, well, no one's called me, no one's been knocking on my door about it? Yeah, usually when they'll say like, yo, for this date we'll find like, and I was usually say like, yeah, and then like usually for a couple days or maybe a week or so, like it takes a couple days to find someone. So I'm just kind of thinking maybe I don't know, we'll see what happens. And then when that text gets there, like, yo, the contract's sent. It's in your email, so sign it. That's when I'm like, okay, it's for real now. So now I just got to sign it, and then that's when like I just kind of flip the switch to just lock in. Wow, this is super exciting. I love how it works. Do you know where your placement is, like on Saturday's lineup? I'm the co-main event, so we're the second to last one. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So yeah, that's really exciting. So there's really only one fight that's above you in that. Yeah. That's what I asked. I was like, "What's the main?" And you're like, "Yeah, you are the main deal." That's got to be so much pressure. Yeah. Is it weird? Do you watch the fights before you, or do you not? Do you go in your zone? I usually like to just kind of kick back and just lay, especially since I'm going to be towards the end. I'll kind of just chill. And maybe, so you're not paying attention to anything that's happening? If I have a teammate fighting, I'll watch his, but like I usually just, when it's my time to go out there, then I start getting myself ready. I usually don't really pay attention to, if it's right there, I'll look, but like I'm not like watching the whole time. So what's your fight music? Do you have a song that you like? I haven't really been, there's usually the speaker playing back there. So do you have any like music that you listen to like right before to like psych yourself up? Probably listen to like maybe some, I don't know, some Tupac or something. But then you're like, yeah, I'm gonna rev up. Yeah, I try not to get too pumped up though. I kind of just try to stay mellowed out throughout the whole day till it's time to start fighting. And then like you just try to do you take a nap before? Yeah, I take a nap before. After I weigh in and eat, I'll go home, take a nap or something, and then. Can you even like? Don't you get too nervous at that point to sleep? You get a little bit nervous, but I mean, it's gonna happen. So I mean, just try to take a nap and then by the time you wake up, it's almost time to start fighting. So I got to make sure I get a nap in just to make sure I feel a little bit more refreshed for later.
Wow, this is exciting. Okay, so can we still buy tickets for this event?
Yeah, you could get some tickets.
So where do we buy tickets at?
You could get some tickets from me, or you could get some tickets online, or you could get tickets at the box office.
We have to get it from you for you to get the credit then, right?
Yeah.
So do you have an actual link for that?
I do.
So
yeah.
is it on your Instagram?
Yeah, I have it on
Okay,
Instagram.
so let's all follow your Instagram. What's your Instagram?
Luis Ramos 41.
Okay, guys, you hear that? Everyone's got to follow him, and then we also got to buy the tickets from. How much are the tickets?
I think they're like $50 a ticket.
Okay. That's perfect, and then you get to go gamble afterwards, right?
Yeah. if you wanna, I try not to stay away from the gambling because I don't like gambling.
Are you old enough to do all that stuff? You're old enough to drink and gamble and all that stuff. Okay.
Gambling, but I just don't have good luck with gambling, so I just watch.
Well, I would understand that. It's like, hey, save all your luck for the fighting. That's what you have to save all your luck for, right? You can only have so much luck in life. No, thank you so much for coming on. I'm definitely can't wait to see also what happens. I want in a year. I feel like I want to have you back and see what kind of fights you've done.
See where I'm at. Yeah, I'll be down to come back. See what's going on.
I mean, if you're still here, you might drop. Is it possible that you would leave the state or whatever and go to other? What do your friends do? Because you said your friend that you kind of went the same trajectory as him, that he moved away.
Yeah.
So I assume he moved away for fighting.
Yeah.
So where does he live now?
He lives in Vegas.
So is that where you might have to go one day?
I like it. I like it here. I like it close to home.
So you do get to have a choice kind of in that matter. But if they pay you enough money, you're like, I'll go anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, it's good to have that over there too, that connection, because I mean, that's a close friend and he's training over there. So, but I mean, I like it here too. I get everything I need right here too. So.
But is Vegas where a lot of people go to fight? That's for them.
I would say, yeah, that's where a lot of that's where the performance gym is, and I think that's where he's training at. That's where all the UFC fighters go and they train at that gym or whatever. So.
Well, how exciting. Oh my goodness. Well, good luck on Saturday. We support you and I hope you win.
Thank you.
Fell right in the morning, fell right in the summertime. It felt right drinking cherry wine with you. Just wanted to own it, just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here. Oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you. Now I must confess here. Oh, I must confess, dear. Don't think I'm in love with you. Winter is coming and I don't know what to do. And there's no more use in running, no more running to you. And I don't want your loving, I don't wanna be just friends, knowing all this time we were playing pretend.
It's a mystery.